This event is one of those iconic pieces of United States history. There was even a big budget Hollywood film made about the story. Unfortunately, it wasn't very good. It was really just an exaggerated, loosely based crapshoot that didn't do the story any justice. But don't you worry, friends. Let's look into the facts and find out what really happened. This is the story of the Battle of L.A. After the Japanese Imperial Navy attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, the United States entered World War II the very next day.
A state of war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire.
Public outrage and paranoia intensified across the country, especially on the West Coast, where the threat of a Japanese attack was a very real concern, as their warships and their submarines were rumored to be roaming around the western side of the Pacific Ocean. Nightly blackouts were ordered in Juneau, Alaska, Seattle, and Oakland. Even 500 US troops moved in to defend Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, California. So some serious paranoia around the country was a brewing. On February 23rd, the day before the Battle of L.A., a Japanese submarine surfaced and fired over a dozen artillery shells at the Elwood oil refinery off the coast of Santa Barbara, California. This attack inflicted no casualties and it only caused minor damage, but it did mark the first time that the mainland United States had been bombed during World War II. The day after the oil field raid, paranoia and itchy trigger fingers combined to produce one of the most unusual home front incidents of war ever. During the night of February 24th at 7:18, a series of alerts were given by the Navy instructing the units of the California coast to prepare for an attack. And shortly after 2 a.m. on February 25th, military personnel actually picked up this unidentified object on radar 120 miles west of Los Angeles. Air raid sirens then started to go off, and the order was made to start a citywide blackout. Military personnel then rushed to their defense post, armed with anti-aircraft guns, and started searching the clear, moonlit skies with spotlights for a potential enemy attack. And after 3 a.m. is when things really went bonkers. This is when the military spotted this unidentified object in the sky and unleashed a barrage of artillery shells and 50 caliber machine gun rounds into the sky of Los Angeles. Shortly after, other coastal defenses joined in on the gunfire, and from 3:16 to 4:14 a.m., over 1,400 artillery shells flew through the skies without hitting a single target other than some buildings and some houses and some vehicles around the city. 5 civilians died as an indirect result from this gunfire. 3 people died in car accidents, as some people were still driving around when this blackout occurred and were caught driving blindly, and 2 people died of heart attacks attributed to the stress of this hour-long event.
Aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific War Time this morning. The anti-aircraft guns began barking during a blackout ordered by the 4th Interceptor Command at 2:25 a.m. The unidentified object, which some sources thought might be a blimp, moved slowly down the Pacific coast from Santa Monica and disappeared south of Long Beach. Army officials declined to comment on the possibility that the object might have been a blimp. However, it required nearly 30 minutes to travel some 25 miles, far slower than an airplane.
The city had met its first taste of war, which would have been terrifying and exhilarating, but the exhilaration turned into embarrassment as the Secretary of the Navy deemed the incident a false alarm due to war nerves. The people of Los Angeles were absolutely outraged, accusing the army of shooting up an empty sky. So a day later, the Secretary of War tried to save face by saying 15 commercial planes flown by enemy agents had flown over the city to intentionally strike fear into the public. I don't know, it doesn't sound logical to me. And as fast as this whole thing started, it was forgotten about as World War II was escalating. Some witnesses say that they had seen Japanese fighter planes flying above the city, even some saying that they had seen paratroopers jump out of these planes, while others say that they had seen a glowing orange circular object flying over Culver City and Santa Monica. On February 26, 1942, the Los Angeles Times published an article on the incident that included a picture of the searchlights converging on this certain area that seems to illuminate this disc-like craft. This picture later sparked interest in alien enthusiasts who strongly believe that this is clear evidence of a UFO or an alien craft. This picture is controversial though, because it was touched up for newspaper reproduction, which was common practice in the 1940s, but others believe that the original photo doesn't show any evidence of anything unusual. This is a picture of the touched up photo, and this is a picture of the original. In 1945, after the war ended, the Japanese government stated that they had never flown any planes over Los Angeles. And nearly 40 years later, the Office of Air Force blamed this false attack on weather balloons, just like they did with the Roswell incident. So what do you guys think? Was this just trigger-happy military personnel, or was it a weather balloon? Or could this possibly have been a mysterious alien craft? I don't know. I think this case will always remain somewhat of a mystery, but I'm curious to know what you guys think. Comment down below and please let me know. So thanks for watching the video. Please give it a big old thumbs up for me if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing to the channel for more weekly videos. Stay curious, friends. I'll catch you next week. Thanks again for watching.